Who'd have thought I'd be sitting here today recording and coming up with another 100 days, making it to 500 days in Valheim? I can definitely say I didn't. That said, it's the next 100 days and I've got quite a bit planned out for you all. From visiting different biomes that I have yet to see, looking for more ways to improve my base, and trying my darndest at taming wolves in the snowy biome. I can tell you right now, 1 out of those 3 was not a great success. I do have to thank each and every single one of you again, not only for the support, but for making my dreams come true. I didn't think I'd hit 2,000 subscribers, and at the time of this recording, we're probably closer to 3,000? I don't know. But seriously, on this channel, it's been a dream of mine to hit 2,000 subscribers. But for me personally, 2,000 has always been a dream, and I hope we keep climbing from here on out. I'm going to keep grinding up these videos. I hope you guys are enjoying them as much as I am. And thank you again. Thank you, thank you, thank you. BT dubs, if you haven't already, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and leave a like if you enjoyed the video. Finally, I spent 500 days in Valheim, and here's what happened. Day 400, and by this point, I'm sure a lot of people thought it couldn't be done, but that's right, more content, here I come. I started off by looking through the map, sifting and trying to pinpoint locations I hadn't been to yet. Heading over to my armor stand and grabbing the padded pieces. I knew by now my armor should stay on, so I was less likely to die, but knowing me, I'd find ways to surprise you. I also remembered through some comments on other videos that people mentioned it was easier to just plant your crops, plant my crops down, rather than having all these planks, because I'm wasting a lot of space. So I started breaking them down one by one, and only then realizing how much wasted space there was. My goodness, would you just look at it? I went back to turning up my graphics and vegetation too, Valheim 2.0. Finished deconstructing the wooden planks and called it a night. My first night, in fact. On day 401, after picking up all the turnips, I replanted with carrots. Still stunned by the fact of all the space I was actually missing out on. I'm so sorry for the few out there that were scratching their heads all this time. The next few days went as so. I wanted to finally tame something. Of course, I was super late to the party, but here I went. I built a little pen at first, closing off any holes, 2 wooden doors so I had an easy way in and out. Then there was the trouble that started. I had to get the boar to chase me all the way from the meadows to inside my base. Up the stairs and down the wooden ones. Had a problem with that because it kept getting scared and would run in the opposite direction. I managed to get the boar and chase me around the winding part leading up to the side, and we were almost there when the braziers frightened it and even more chased it off. It was close to jumping in the water as it reached behind my base. I needed a way to block it up. Wooden walls would do just that. Of course, once I set up the walls, the boar took off and I literally lost where it went. I checked all around, even got to finding myself a deer in my place. Through day 406 and 407, here's where I would honestly cut the video because I die more than I lead on to, but I stepped away for maybe 20 seconds needing to pee and came back to me dead. A foul smell from the swamp revealed itself, and not only that, it was a mass of blobs and destroyed me in a matter of seconds. Luckily for me, the event faded, but went on to checking anyways, going around and inside my base.
Oh god, okay. We've got to be careful here. We've got to be really careful, boys. There's some slimes out here trying to kill me. Right now, they're destroying my base, and I don't approve of this. I don't like that, but I need a buff. I know I said I'd wear armor again. I did in fact wear armor. I just went to go for a pee and come back to my dead body. And that wasn't fun. I'm gonna be honest, that was not good at all.
Double checking just in case. I didn't want any surprises. Recovered my items and went back to strategizing on how to tame boars. I picked up another boar in my travels, leading him the same way, but unfortunately having to kill it off. I did get another quickly, having walls finally around and taking down any lights as they still scared the boars away. Working through nighttime, I got ever so lucky and did it. I got my first boar. Not tamed, but it was a start. The next day was the same, but this time much easier than the last. Looking to tame another boar, I got one to follow me home, blocking it off and making this catch look easy. Guess the walls really did help, huh? Day 409, if I wasn't lucky enough, I had that same event from the swamp come back with open arms. Slaying and swinging my sword, taking down the oozers one after the next, making sure they stayed dead. That same day, I forgot to put the Yagluth statue up, and so I did, running back over to the altar and hanging that bad boy with joy. Day 410 went as followed, building a portal for the Mistlands I'd eventually come to finding and seeing. Back in the plains, as I farmed up all the flax and barley I could, I made sure to plant half and half so I could always return with more to come. A few days had gone by putting what barley I collected into the windmill and headed back to the plains. One thing I wanted to do was farm up enough tar so I could start replacing and building with the new recipes. Finding myself by a tar pit and killing any growth around, I started with a hole, mining and making sure it was big enough to collect the tar I could. Back at home now, I took the flour that processed through the windmills and turned it into bread, using that bread then to make lox, pies, and extras just in case. Finally finishing up, I had just a few more spots to hit back in the plains, clearing out the gross again and mining down any pits to make it available for me to farm all the tar. This far in, I had about a stack and a half, not too shabby. Day 414, I made sure to collect my barley once more, running back home and building 2 more windmills. I thought it'd be nice to have more going if I ever collected an overabundance of the stuff. Day 415, I cleared out any leftover tar pits as well, shooting and slaying anything that came my way. From loxes to gross, I had close to 4 stacks of tar. By the end, with flour just piling up with my farm at the ready. The next day, I needed to clean up after my whole ordeal with the boar situation, breaking down the walls and even my wooden spiked walls because they needed to go. Checked on my boars and guess what? They loved me. They really loved me. Gave them names because that was an interesting thing I could do, back to tearing down the walls and replacing them with nice fencing. I was also able to cultivate a bit of my land so it wasn't so bare, but I was far from done. Today had to have been the quickest and easiest day yet. All I did was cook up some extra bread and replace soup of mine with it. More stamina, anyone? On day 418, I spent some time in the swamps looking for blood bags. I was wanting to craft some new foods called blood pudding. I was killing leech after leech and successfully gathering a few. I did come across an abomination, though it was no match for the one and only Rayofpandas. That's me. Day 419, I was closer to having the best of best foods. Blood pudding and bread was a go. Gathering my carrot seeds and replanting them into carrots, I happened to take a peek at the boars and noticed a little baby. Very adorable stuff was happening. I then finished off the day back in the plains, bow in hand and shooting one arrow after the next at the 2 loxes. The next day I checked up on my boars, giving many pets and having them named after Thor and Odin. I like the idea of being able to name boars so they could have some sort of identity. While taking my leave back in the plains, I was then farming up some more creatures, a lox to desquitos. I felt confident enough to finally not have to worry about this place. A few more days had gone by as I started on my base, first grabbing my cart and heading to the meadows. I ran over to the altar, trading in buffs, and started hacking and chopping away at trees. It went from daytime to nighttime as I hopped from one tree to the next, lugging the resources back home with a full cart, loading up some kilns for coal, and soon after going around my base to fix up any braziers I could. Meanwhile, taking some tar and wood in hand and using it to finally replace roofing from thatch to dark wood. Also adding some beams in to replace of planks or core wood. I continued working on replacing more of the rooftops, making my way around to the courtyard and finishing up the first part of my base.
It's coming along nicely. Look at this. Holy crap. Bada bing, bada boom. The reason why this one is different, by the way, for those who don't know, is because that's a 4 where this is a 3. I had to extend that one because of how I angled this. I know it's not perfect. It's definitely a different roofing. As you can see here, there's a beam up top, but it goes over to this one, and that one's gone eventually. OCD, I get it. Yeah, me too, but it is what it is, and I love it.
I also took some time to check up on my boars, feeding them, and noticing a few more faces to our growing family. Day 224, I took some time to plant more carrots and onions for soups I might need later on. Farming in Valheim was probably one of my favorite things of passing time and just being able to relax. By day 425, I was out of tar and all the plains I traveled to were clean dry. I found my way to another spot just off the snowy biome, unfortunately unable to find any more spawns as I fought more creatures along my way. Over the next week, I tended to my crops, picking up the blossom seeds and then replanting them. Also feeding any carrots I came across in my pores. I managed to find a new plains location with what I hoped untapped potential, or at least some sort of untapped tar pits. The next pit I did dig out was my lucky break, because I hit one of many jackpots I'd soon come to learn. There were stacks of tar just waiting to be used by my hand. In hopes of another close by pit, I was unlucky to say that I could not find one. Throwing up some more dark wood roofing and having to deal with another trolley boy siege as the ground started shaking. Thankfully, they just spawned outside my base and made it that much easier to handle them. Nearing the end of the week, I picked up a few more stacks of tar, setting up a portal on the same island where I fought Yagluth. Day 434, I took my venture back into the Black Forest, looking for more Grey Dwarf eyes from anything that crossed my paths. Somehow, while searching, I happened to come across a fueling that was left from an earlier event, and apparently, if you don't kill off everything, they don't just disappear. It actually had me pretty worried.
Ow, what the fudge? Why is there a fueling here? Hello? Oh my god, hold on. God, where did those fuelings even come from, though? There was 3 of them, which is so surprising. I mean, I did have an event happen a while back, but even then...
I caught another glimpse of Thor on his chariot in the sky just before killing off a few more fuelings.
Been a while, crocodile. Oh, there he is, the magical chariot man. I know it's Thor, okay? Don't hate me, okay? And it's also Norse mythology, not Greek yogurt. Why are there more fuelings? Holy crap. I actually have no idea where these guys are where they're coming from now. Like, I have literally no idea.
Dealt with more of my crops just before feeding the carrots to my boars. Yes, I had a lot of boars, and at this point in the game, I didn't really need the leather or meat anymore. Still really cool though. Day 435 and 436, I began on my main base, building up to the roof and then working on replacing the thatch to darkwood roofing. Working on one side and then the next, it was starting to come along quite nicely. I moved on to the middle portion, quickly fixing up some spots. I then went to sleep. Day 437 was super fun. Normally I just cut this part out, but here's what happened. I had to pee again in real time, yes, and just as I was getting back to my chair, I found myself dead. Not only that, but I was really confused because I had no idea what happened. I quickly ran back and here's what happened. I was so peeved and upset with myself. I then had to start rebuilding after everything that happened here. Watch this.
This is what happens when you step away for a second, because I literally just did. And I forgot that there were still things that spawned. There was literally 2 freaking trolls in the back of my base sitting in the water, literally just chilling until I came back and apparently killed me. I stepped away to go to the washroom. I just went over here just for a second, and I guess they were like over there somewhere, and they're like, oh hey, there's a person over here, so let's go kill him. I went to the washroom, came back, and apparently I was dead. Coming back to this, I see literally 2 trolls, and all I'm thinking is, son of a futhering mother trucking, you know, the not so nice words. Just because, look at this, are you kidding me? They literally destroyed so much of my base. And I was like rebuilding too. I was in the process of rebuilding everything.
It honestly took a few more days because I went on to noticing certain things off and needed to fix them up too. Starting with the stairs and stone foundations for floors, I built up to the 2nd floor on the left side again. Adding beams where I could while making sure things were lined up to one another, some new furniture placed down, and finally the roofing that only took a try or 2. Day 443, bright and early in the morning, as I jumped a little too high, actually set myself on fire. That was the first time with the brazier. Continuing though, I went back up to the roof and decided to make the outer deck more spacious up top, adding dark wood to the rooftop and having it go an extra level up to see if it would hold. Things were looking good. Once I finished outside, I headed back in, tearing down any leftover thatch pieces and feeling the difference immediately. The next day followed as so. I went around adding more support beams to holding up the roof, fixing up any parts out of place, and then finally giving a back portion part of the roof the same. By now I felt like I could breathe a little easier and there was more room for activities. This next part took a couple of tries and a few more days. I wanted to get a bit more tar if possible and used the same portal I set down a while back. Though something I should have realized is that I didn't have the HP and all the stamina foods were active. I was fighting a Lox back in the plains and thought, oh yeah, I got this. No, I didn't. I got nothing. Ended up dying due to my dumb tactics. Making my way back to that same portal, this time I died even before I could get through and run around. These SOBs were camping my portal, and of course they destroyed it too. By now I was mad once again. While alive though, quickly ran over to the altar picking up the bone mass buff. I was done. This time though, the only portal I had close was the igloo, so before heading out, I popped that buff and made my way. I had to be careful though, going through the lands, anything could kill me in a single hit. Making it back to my grave safely somehow, I quickly looted everything around and started with my armor. Now you know I made do with those loxes and any others that would come my way. It's also that time again in the video, and if you've made it this far, comment newt down below. Day 449, I picked up more tar and continued on my roofs, going up and down the longer walkway and replacing anything that needed it. Adding floors and extending it out, I also wanted to replace all of the walkway that went around my crops to the boar pen and windmill area too. As I started deconstructing the walkway, I had another event greet me at the door. Things slowly turned red and a smell of brewed sulfur in the air came across.
No, not a smell from sulfur. No. What is sulfur? Oh god. There's a smell of sulfur. I don't even remember what that was or is. It's you guys.
What took a few more days, I managed to tear down and build up a lot more. I took all the planks and stone foundations underneath, the roof that was attached, and started with the outline. Building the half walls along, that would be my new pathway. I then filled it in with planks and eventually went on to adding dark wood beams. This would be the placeholder to hold up my roofing and then some. It was starting to look like what I envisioned too, and I loved the way the dark would fit in my base. Just before heading to sleep though, I didn't think of it, but I hung the brazier a little too close to my bed, and upon sleeping, I set myself on fire. Yay! Woo! As you could imagine, on day 455, I moved that bed because I didn't really feel like burning alive while sleeping. That said, I made my way through more unexplored plains, collecting the tar that was much needed. Just before heading home, I stepped through the portal to find a skeleton surprise. As you'd think, I was surprised.
Skeleton surprise. Alright, where's the surprise at? It's about to be barotted. Oh, there's a green one. I'm coming, don't worry. Stop it. Not much of a surprise if you come running straight at me, is it?
At this point, I took a good solid week and divvied up the work, finishing all of the roofing I needed in dark wood related builds, to fixing up the pathway so grass wasn't sticking out of the planks so I hoed the land down. I built out the boar pen too, trying to coop them together so I could add some space behind. Making sure that no grass was sticking out of any leftover planks that I left unchecked, I set up some support darkwood beams to give my place more character. Remembering to actually feed the boars and give them lots of love too, I did just that.
Now, how would I go about killing off of some of these boars? I don't want to, but I'm curious. I tried meleeing and that didn't work. So I wonder what does.
While I finished up with that, I went around covering up most parts with the cultivator, adding grass to the dirt around. Grabbing a bunch of stone, I went around the base, paving roads all over the main portal area and around the boar's pen. Moved a few portals around while organizing the plains portals themselves. It started to feel more like home. Day 465 and 466, I popped on over to the Snow 1 portal.
Here's what I'm thinking. My best bet is to go to Snow Portal 1 and hope that there's like a bunch of things over here just like covered in tin. That's my hope. Wait, why did I only get 12-minute buff? What the fudge? Oh, there's the, see that? The boar territory. Their little lineage they've got going on. A clan, if you will. That's okay, though.
Making my way to the Black Forest in for more tin. Walking along the shoreline with my pickaxe in hand, I would mine any I came across. I was able to get a good 5 or 6 stacks of tin, stored in a chest just by a crypt so I wouldn't get lost. This time, instead of using a boat that would take far too long, I tried the way most seem to do it, logging out of my game with a full inventory. I then went to my other world, crafting a new chest and filling it up. I then went back to my 100 days world, quickly traveling home and then rinse repeating. I was able to grab all the tin I mined and effortlessly bring it back home. How awesome was that?
It works! I mean, of course it works, but I just like, I don't know. I always thought like I would mess it up somehow. I'd do something wrong to do, I don't know, anything bad. But it works! Look at it. I got all of this stuff running around multiple places. Another area where I took a portal. Oh my god, this is great. Oh, this is so good. This is actually gonna help me so much now.
Day 467 and 468, I did the same with some copper, letting the tin cook and smelt while I made my way to the Black Forest once more. This time though, I just mined veins left on the island my base was on, grabbing about 4 to 5 stacks and doing the world switch and store method, then eventually bringing it back to my base vice versa. Those who commented this before, thank you so much, and I'm so sorry it took this long to finally get on board with it. Day 469 and 470, I now know the power of mining copious amounts of anything, then switching over and making full use of it. I happily traveled back to the plains using my Yugoluth portal and took all the metal scrap I collected a while back, with a bunch of fine wood. Gosh, was this so handy. I did the good old switcheroo and was able to lug it all back home, no problem. Day 471, I did it once more. Back at the plains, I had my farm going and picked up the 4 stacks of scrap metal. Easy peasy lemon squeezy, one would say, and there I was, home and fine. Everything was cooking from tin to copper in the smelters, from metal scrap between the 2 blast furnaces, and all the wood filled into each kiln for coal. It was good to see a lot of resources going again. I wasn't about to stop there though, because something I'd planned on doing originally was going to both ends of the world. Next stop would be the Mistlands. Hopefully. I built another boat, chartered an expedition, and set sail in the direction of the south side of the map. Coming close to what I thought was the right place, I accidentally found something entirely different. Something new, and very concerning. The Ashlands.
What the? Yo, it's... Biome_Ashlands. It's not even completed yet. Okay, we gotta hold up.
This place seemed almost as if everything was on fire and covered in ash. Circling creatures everywhere, and even little piles of rock and a new but not fully implemented ore, the flame metal. I was kind of freaking out again.
Am I allowed to have this? Okay, I'll take it. Oh, warm touch, the glowing veins of the strange metal needs to be refined into a smelter. Okay, I don't want that. Don't need Certling core. I'm gonna run from this guy.
The next day I was able to bring the mined ores back and smelted almost immediately. That first bar dropped and so did my jaw. Of course it wasn't of any use yet, but just seeing that new endgame ore almost ready to be used, I was in so much awe.
Look at the bars. Oh, they look so beautiful. Oh, damn. We got flame metal. The pure shimmering core of a meteorite. And what does this meteorite get us? I have no idea. I don't think it gets us anything, if I'm being honest. Not yet, at least. Unless there's a thing I can build with it, but it only gave us the thing for a bar.
That same day I went to planting 3 different types of crops, from my turnips to carrots and onions down. Needing to finish up my braziers from all that ore I farmed, I took a few days and journeyed to the swamps. I needed some more chains for the build that meant killing phantoms or finding them in crypts. Crypts it was. Back and forth, I think I went to finding about 10 or so. I honestly just left any ores I picked up along the way because I really didn't need it now. Day 477 and 478, I finished up a good amount of my ores, storing them in my chest and then going around most my base to light things up, placing braziers all over of each of my walkways. I also went back to those obliterators and set up 2 just beside the crops, but not too close. Day 479, I took one last trip to the plains, down to my barley farm and picking up the remaining around. I took my hoe and tried to fix up the land so it was more flush and used my pickaxe a few, just to help with it. Planted about half the barley so I had some down and returned home, filling up all 3 windmills to start the process. Day 480 I picked up some more stone, using the hoe to pave more roads down all around my base, on the outside this time so it wasn't just a mass of grass everywhere. Took some wood to fix up stake walls that were out of place. The next day I was back in the Ashlands, moving and building a new portal closer to the ores themselves. I farmed a bunch more of the flame metal while picking up some coal and Certling cores from the creatures there. My next plan was to check the most northern part of the map. For that I needed a boat. Thankfully I still had the boat that I sailed to Yugoluth and took sail yet again. 2 days had passed as I ventured, deep in the tundra and icebergs around, not sure what to make of it. Then I saw it, deep north. This was another place I had no idea existed and finally found my way to a new area/biome? Once docked, snow really started to pick up and come down with some flurries. I built a new portal for an easier way back and begun the trek. Through the open fields of snow, I came across the mountains. Climbing and inching my way closer, I found some more wolves and saw a wyvern or two. There was a stone golem that came close to killing me too. Nothing much else to see. I turned around and made my way back to the ship. Maybe someday we'd get to see some cool new things here. Someday. Something else that I wanted to try but was unsure of was killing some of the boars. While tamed, you do need a special weapon, and that was the butcher's knife. With it in hand, I slayed a few to lighten up the load. Those fallen would be remembered. While I was tearing down a few more pieces of my base, a foul smell decided to show itself, and so did many oozes. I fought and killed a few, but there was one that got me good with some poison. I wasn't going to live, so I tried making it as close to my place as I could. The next day, I picked up my stuff, got some revenge, and tore down the walkway I made just outside my wall. I really wasn't using it right now, so it just seemed like the right thing to do. Day 485, I wanted to change my buff, but then that led to me wanting a portal there. I needed more Great Orph eyes for returning portals, so I went to the Elder Boss spawn. Looking and killing off some creatures, Odin showed himself again. I actually took this opportunity to zoom in and see what he looked like or if there was anything there, and here's what I found. A glowing eye and him holding a staff of some sort. At this point in my adventure, the days started to blur. Things happened quickly, and before I knew it, day 97 was here. While that happened, another round of skeletons showed up.
What you guys doing down there, Are you guys having fun? Alright, well, I'm gonna use my buff, and then I'm gonna come and get some, guys. Oh, there's a lot of them. Yes, push me. Faster, push me faster, thank you. Skeletons are tired of fighting? Oh, you're tired of fighting, are you? I don't think so. It's not actually, I'll take that. Why not?
Killing off a lot of them and collecting any bones. I farmed up my crops from picking and replanting them in the soil. I was also messing around with some obliterators, and thunder started rumbling. Here's what happened.
What was that? Oh! Thor bestows a gift upon you? What? Thor? What's happening? Why did it just... Oh, it's cloudy now. You're not gonna kill me, are you? Is there a boss fight coming? Should I be worried? What's happening? I'm so confused. It was like thunder. It's like... Strikes! Alright, Thor. Well, what'd you bestow upon me, buddy? What'd you...
The next 2 days I went back to those thunder magnets, storing bones in them in hopes for more coal. I built a second oven for baking because 2's better than 1. Lastly, I ran over to the snow biome on my island. I started setting up some stake walls and 2 doors in hopes of catching some wolves. Snuck around quietly and moments later was made.
Hello? Don't hurt me, don't hurt me, don't hurt me, don't hurt me, don't hurt me. Woo! There's 2. Oh, beautiful, there's 2 of them. Okay, I'm gonna play this safe. That's fine. Now they can hit me. Yeah, I got it, guys. Come on in. So on the right, you got meat. On the left, you got meat. And in the middle, you've got a tree. Okay, stay right here.
Fingers crossed this worked. Once home, this was it. The last night I'd sleep in my 500 days in Valheim series. Day 500 finally arrived, and I couldn't be happier. I made it to day 500. We made it halfway to that 1,000 days marker and going strong. You've all been such a blessing to me, and the videos showing the support you have, leaving the funniest, the most helpful, and honest comments I could ask for. Thank you from me to you, each and every single one of your beautiful faces. None of this would be possible without you guys. I want to say that right now, because without you guys, there is no me. If you guys didn't enjoy this as much, I probably wouldn't be enjoying it as much as I am, but I truly am, and I'm so glad you guys are too. Thank you so much again for the support. If you enjoyed it, leave a like, and this is Rayofpandas signing out. Bye, guys.